61. Ju 8 Rules assists in defeating the Demon King. Pilgrim Sun baits for the third time the palm leaf fan. We tell you now about that bull Demon King, who caught up with the great sage Sun. When he saw that the great sage was carrying the palm leaf fan on his shoulder and walking merrily along, he was greatly shaken. "So this monkey," said the Demon King to himself, "has succeeded in swindling even the method of operating the fan. If I ask him for it face to face, he will certainly refuse me. Moreover, if he fans at me once, he will send me 108,000 miles away. Wouldn't that be to his liking? I have heard that the Tang monk on his journey is also accompanied by a hog spirit and a flowing sand spirit, both of whom I met in previous years when they were fiends. Let me change into the appearance of that hog spirit to deceive the monkey instead. I suppose he's so pleased with his own success that he must have thrown caution to the winds." Dear Demon King. He, too, was capable of undergoing 72 types of transformation, and his martial skill was about the same as that of the great sage, albeit his body was huskier, less agile, and not as nimble. Putting away his treasure swords, he recited a spell and, with one shake of his body, changed into the exact appearance of 8 rules. He sneaked up to the road in front and then walked back facing the great sage, calling out, "Elder brother, I'm here." Our great sage was indeed quite pleased with himself. As the ancients said, "The cat triumphant purrs like a tiger." He was thinking only of his own prowess and hardly paid attention to the design of this person drawing near. When he saw a figure resembling 8 rules, he at once spoke up. "Brother, where are you going? When master saw that you didn't return after such a long time," replied the bull Demon King, working his ploy. He was afraid that the bull Demon King was too powerful for you to overcome, and that it would be difficult for you to get his treasure. He therefore asked me to come to meet you. "Don't bother," said Pilgrim, chuckling. "I've made it." "How did you make it?" asked the bull king. Pilgrim said, "That old bull tangled with me for over 100 rounds and we fought to a draw. Then he left me to drink with a bunch of female dragons and dragon spirits at the bottom of the Green Wave Lagoon in the Scattered Rocks Mountain. I followed him secretly by changing into the form of a crab. I stole the water-repellent golden-eyed beast on which he was riding and then changed into the form of the old bull to go deceive that Rak Asi in the palm leaf cave. That woman and old monkey became a bogus couple for a while, during which time I managed to wangle the treasure from her. You've been sorely taxed, elder brother," said the bull king. "And you're working too hard. Let me carry the fan for you." As the great sage Sun had no concern to distinguish between the true and the false, he handed over the fan immediately. That bull king, of course, knew how to make the fan grow big or small. After he took it in his hands, he recited some kind of a spell, and it at once became as tiny as an almond leaf. Changing back into his true form, he shouted, "Wretched ape! Can you recognize me?" On seeing him, Pilgrim sighed. "It's my fault this time." Then he stamped his feet and bellowed, "Damn! I've been shooting wild geese for years, but now a tiny goose has pecked me blind." He became so enraged that he whipped out his iron rod and slammed it down hard on the bull king's head. Stepping aside, the Demon King at once used the fan on him. He did not know, however, that when the great sage changed previously into a tiny mole cricket to enter the stomach of Rak Asi, he still had in his mouth that wind-arresting elixir, which he swallowed unwittingly. All his viscera had become firm. His skin and bones were wholly fortified. No matter how hard the bull king fanned at him, he could not be moved. Horrified, the bull king tossed the treasure into his own mouth so that he could wield the swords with both of his hands to slash at his opponent. It was some battle that the two of them waged in midair. The great sage Sun, equal to heaven. The world wrecker, lawless bull king. Because of the palm leaf fan. They met, each flaunting his might. The careless great sage had people deceived. The audacious bull king did swindle the fan. For this one, the golden hooped rod uplifted could no mercy show. For that one, the double blue blades had both power and skill. The great sage exerting his vigor belched colored fog. The bull king, letting loose violence, spat out white rays. A test of strength. By two dogged foes. Gritting their teeth, they loudly huffed and puffed. Spraying dirt and dust made dim heaven and earth. Flying rocks and sand awed both ghosts and gods. This one said, "You dare be so foolish as to trick me back?" That one said, "Would my wife permit you to checkmate her?" Their words grew rough. Their tempers flared. That one said, "You cheat someone's wife, and you deserve to die. You'll be found guilty when I file my charge." The sly equal to heaven sage. The ferocious king powerful. They wished only to kill. And no discussion allowed. The rod struck, the swords came, both working hard. A little slackness will make you see Yama King. We shall leave this intense conflict between the two of them for the moment and tell you instead about the Tang monk, who was sitting by the road, racked by heat, thirst, and anxiety. He said to the local spirit of the Mountain of Flames, "May I inquire of the honorable deity, how powerful is that bull demon king?" "That bull king," replied the local spirit, "has vast, boundless magic powers. He is, in fact, the real match of the great sage Sun. Wukong is usually quite able when it comes to traveling," said Tripitaka. "A couple of thousand miles hardly requires very much time for him to be back. How is it that he's gone for a whole day today? He must be fighting with the Bull King." Then he called out, "Wuneng, Wujing, which of you would like to go meet your elder brother? If you happen to see him fighting our adversary, you can lend him assistance, so that all of you can acquire the fan to relieve my distress. Once we get across this mountain, we can be on our way again. It's getting late," said 8 Rules. "I'd like to go meet him, but I don't know my way to the Horde Thunder Mountain. This humble deity knows the way," said the local spirit. "Let's ask the curtain-raising captain to keep your master company. I'll go with you." Highly pleased, Tripitaka said, "Thank you for taking the trouble. I'll express my gratitude once more when merit is achieved." Rousing himself, 8 Rules tightened his black silk shirt and put the rake on his shoulder before rising with the local spirit on cloud and fog to head for the east. As they proceeded, they suddenly heard terrific shouts and the howling of wind. When he stopped his cloud to look, 8 Rules discovered that Pilgrim Sun was just doing battle with the Bull King. "Go forward, heavenly reeds," said the local spirit. "What are you waiting for?" Firmly gripping his muckrake, our idiot shouted. "Elder brother, I'm here." "Coolly," said Pilgrim spitefully. "How you've upset my great enterprise. Master told me to come meet you," said 8 Rules. "But since I didn't know the way, I had to discuss the matter before the local spirit agreed to lead me here. I know I'm late, but what do you mean by upsetting your great enterprise?" "I'm not blaming you for your tardiness," said Pilgrim. "It's this wretched bull who is most audacious. I got hold of the fan from Rack, AC, but this fellow changed into your appearance, saying that he came here to meet me. I was so pleased at that moment that I handed over the fan to him. He then changed back to his true form and strove with Old Monkey at this place. That's what I meant by upsetting my great enterprise." Infuriated by what he heard, our idiot lifted high his muckrake and screamed, "You bloody plague! How dare you change into the form of your ancestor, deceive my elder brother, and cause enmity to rise among us brothers? Look at him." He charged into the fray and showered blows madly on the Bull King with his rake. The Bull King, after all, had fought with Pilgrim for nearly one whole day. When he saw how savagely 8 Rules was attacking him with his rake, he could no longer stand his ground and retreated in defeat. His way was barred, however, by the local spirit leading a host of ghost soldiers. "King Powerful," said the local spirit, "you'd better stop. There is no god who would not protect the Tang monk on his journey to seek scriptures in the western heaven, no heaven who would not grant him his blessing. This enterprise is known throughout the 3 regions. It has the support of all 10 quarters. Quickly use your fan to extinguish the flames so that he may cross the mountain unharmed and unhindered. Otherwise, heaven will find you guilty and you will certainly be executed. Local spirit, said the Bull King. You're completely unreasonable. That wretched ape robbed me of my son, insulted my concubine, and deceived my wife. These were his misdeeds time and again. I hate him so much I wish I could swallow him whole, and reduce him to dung to feed the dogs. How could I give him my treasure? Hardly had he finished speaking when 8 Rules caught up with him, screaming, You Bezo-Arctic bull! Take out the fan quickly, and I'll spare your life. The Bull King had no choice but to turn and fight 8 Rules again with the treasure swords, while the great sage Sun raised his rod to help his companion. This was again some battle. A spirit boar, a fiend bull, and an ape who stole to heaven to gain the way. As always, Chan nature knows smelting and strife. For earth must be used to fuse the primal cause. The rake's 9 prongs are both pointed and sharp. The treasure sword's 2 blades are quick and smooth. The iron rod in use is determination's staff. Earth God assists to make elixir head. 3 parties together thus feud and strive.